Buongiorno everybody. Welcome to Dorina's Kitchen. We are here today ready to cook something new for you. This is a dish that will definitely bring the family to the table. This is something that a lot of people have been asking me about lately. So for some reason, chicken cacciatore has been something that a lot of people have said, oh, I was looking on your site, I don't see a recipe for this. Do you have a recipe for this? Have you done a video for this? So guess what? We're doing it today. Pasquale loves rice and he's been bugging me to make rice, and so I've got some rice cooking on the side. So we're gonna have our chicken cacciatore with rice. Actually, it's called pollo alla cacciatora. So we are gonna make some today, and it's a really, really easy recipe. So for anybody wanting to make this and thinking it's some daunting dish to try, it is so easy. You're gonna say, oh, you're kidding me, that's all it is? So anyway, so I have my nice big, kind of Dutch oven-y kind of pot here. Any big pot will do, but you definitely want something nice and big and sturdy. You can adjust to this. There isn't a quote-unquote official recipe, but you really just make as much as you need and add what you need to it. Okay, it is that easy, so it's not rocket science. So anyway, so I have a nice pot here warming up. I just turned it on. So I'm going to put in a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. It does have so much more flavor, so I'm not making this super, super hot because, extra virgin, you don't want to cook it too hot. Now, I have my chicken. I've already washed it and cleaned it, but I did want to show you one trick. So today, usually you would use like a whole chicken, or whole chicken parts cut up. I happen to have some legs and thighs, which are two of my favorites, so I have a bunch of those in the fridge, in the freezer, so I pulled those out. But I already cleaned these all off except for this one. The best way I have found, and my favorite way to clean my chicken, because sometimes when you get these thighs, they have, I'm trying not to cut it with touch it with both hands. You get all these extra pieces of fat on here. So honestly, just cut them off. I leave the skin on because it has, it's all the flavor. But these blobs, on the thighs, you're gonna get it. It's gonna be a little bit fattier. And you want to get these like little blobs of fat off. So to trim them off with the scissors is the easiest way to do it. The top skin, which is all the good part, sometimes if there's a big long flap, even though it could crisp up, I still kind of trim it a little bit. And that's that. And then I've got my nice, neat piece of chicken. So I'm gonna put that aside there. So anyway, so this is getting nice and warm. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to put our chicken in skin side down, so that it kind of, it's not going to stay crispy because you're making a sauce around it. Oops, let's see here. My rice is now bubbling, so I'm going to turn that off and just let it finish soaking up. I'm going to use that for a few minutes. I'll get another cover for it after. Anyway, so we're going to get our chicken in here. It's still good to get, because that gets the flavor in the oil of the chicken skin. So I'm just going to put these in here. It's not quite hot enough to sizzle yet, but it'll sizzle in a second. So leave that first one. Next thing you're gonna need is, of course, the famous trifecta of carrot, celery, and onions. So hang tight here. Let me put these in. Okay, there we go. It's starting to sizzle just a little bit. Get some of these chicken legs in here. I love legs and thighs. It's kind of my favorite. I love the dark meat. It has so much more flavor. So I'm going to try to get in as many of these as I can, fitting in the bottom. These last two pieces, I'm probably going to wait until these other ones brown, and then I'll put them in the bottom and then kind of layer them in there. So I'm going to put these aside for a second. All right, I have to tell you a funny story. So earlier, when I was cleaning the chicken, I was sitting over by the sink and I was rinsing it. I always rinse my chicken off and patting it dry. And as I'm cleaning the chicken and I'm trimming, it's habit for me, I always smell the chicken to make sure, it's nice and fresh, but I still always smell the chicken. And a tip for you, the next time you have good chicken, brand new fresh chicken that you've just bought, smell it. Chicken doesn't smell great to begin with, even when it's nice and fresh. I mean, it has less scent, but it doesn't, have a beautiful smell. And know what good chicken smells like, because so many times I've had people call, I've had chicken in the fridge for 2 days, is it still good? And I'm like, smell it. I don't know what it's supposed to, but chicken always smells bad. So when you smell it when it's bad, you're not sure if it's good or bad. So know what it smells like when it's good. We don't tend to smell things that we know are nice and fresh all the time. So smell the next chicken you have nice and fresh so you know what your starting point is. Because like I said, good chicken doesn't smell good. Bad chicken just smells worse. So this is my tip. So anyway, so this morning I had this towel over my shoulder like this. And I'm cleaning the chicken. And I got this towel here. And I'm smelling the chicken like this. And I'm like, oh my God, it smells like bleach. Did they clean this chicken with bleach? I thought this was organic chicken. And I'm starting to get angry. All of a sudden I realized that this towel was really dirty and I had stuck it in, I had just put it in a little bleach load to get some of the stains off of it. And it's the towel that still has the bleach smell to it. So anyway, beware of your towels that smell like bleach. It's not your food. All right, can you hear this sizzling? It's smelling so good. So I'm just pushing these around, pushing those down. Okay, very quickly, I'm just gonna wash this hand off. Can't cook with chicken hands. Okay. So, bleach towel away. So the next thing you need to do, okay, these are nice, is you're going to chop up your carrots, your celery, and your onion. So I've already chopped up some of my carrots and some of my celery. And what I like to do is I like to cut it in half, and then cut them in half. Now if they're thicker, I'll cut them in thirds, but I try to keep them all the same size, and I kind of like them smaller so that you're just getting, it becomes part of the sauce. It's really nice. So I'm just going to do a little bit more of this. You really can't overdo it. So what I had total here was 2 big carrots. That was the second half of one. So I just had these other little ones to show you. I had, actually I'll throw in this extra little celery here. There's a little, cut the end off. So the bigger pieces of celery I'll cut into 3 strips going down. This was a smaller piece, I'm just cutting it in 2. And in my cups here. Oh, that smells so nice. Okay, they're not quite browning yet, but they're getting there. So, as soon as these start to brown, then I'm going to turn them over. Once I turn them over and let them just get started, you don't want to cook them all the way through because they're going to cook the rest of the way in the sauce. So right now I'm just kind of searing the edges and making the juice stay in the chicken. Okay, not quite brown, but So anyway, now very typical for this recipe is rosemary. And what a lot of people do, they'll put in a whole sprig of rosemary just to get the flavor. I don't have any fresh rosemary right now, but I do have some that I dried, so it's fresh recently. So I'm just going to, instead of putting a sprig in there, and I don't like the whole long needles, I'm going to chop some up and have that ready to go in. Now, that's the standard recipe, is the rosemary. But you can put in some other nice, if you have some fresh herbs, by all means throw them in. So like, for example, I've got some fresh sage here. I have some fresh thyme. So I'm going to probably throw a couple leaves of those, sprigs of those in that I'll pull out later, but they'll get in the sauce. So anyway, I'm going to just quickly, and be careful when you're chopping up your rosemary needles, because they are needles and they go flying all over the place. So you got to just kind of do them carefully here. Make them kind of, I kind of pulverize them a little bit because I want the flavor to go throughout, but I don't want those long needles. If you have fresh rosemary, throwing in a sprig or a branch, a piece in there that you can take out, and that imparts a really nice flavor. And those are easy plants to grow because that's basically a little evergreen. Actually, I don't know why I'm doing this yet. It's not ready yet. I'm just getting it ready. All right, I'm going to turn these all over. They're getting there. If they're not ready, then the skin sticks. It's when they turn over easy because the skin has browned and kind of seared and woo, and that's when it like that one wasn't quite ready. So I'm giving them another minute. But anyway, now something else I'm going to add to it today. Adding heat to any dish is purely up to you. So you can put in some red pepper flakes. I've just recently gotten into these pink peppercorns, and wow, they're really good. These are organic. I got them from a really cool company. I can't remember the name right now, but I'll tell you later. Fresh Jacks. And they are organic. They're a small company out of Jacksonville, Florida. And they're these organic, and they give a portion of their income or proceeds goes to feeding kids. So that to me makes them top of my book. I'll be telling you guys more about them later and how to find them. All right, now we're going. Okay. Okay. So I've turned those all over. That one. There we go. And now I'm going to add in, well, let's pull some of these out because I'm not going to be able to put this whole cup in. I'm going to add my carrots. And the rest of my carrots. And my onions, which I'm now going to put in my cup, which I didn't before because my third cup was full of garbage. And the celery. Run away carrot. Now I'm going to put in some of my, normally I would put this in afterwards, but I'm just going to throw these in since they're right here and I can clean my little counter off. All right. Now, something else that's really, the next thing that's important, obviously besides just getting these down in between, letting them to start to cook. So, you know, you let these things cook a little bit. I'm kind of rushing through this a little to show you all the pieces. But next comes, oh, that looks, it smells so good already. All right, we do want to have one piece. So now, just so you know, I had about 2.5 carrots. I had 2 stalks of celery. I had a half of a pretty good size onion. So that was you can do more if you like. But that's, you know, give or take. Again, this is not, I will write it out. It'll be on my blog. But it's really, you know, use what you've got. If you only have 1 carrot, throw it in and throw in extra celery or whatever. But this, you know, cacciatore is a hunter. This is a hunter's stew, basically. You took your basics, threw it in a pot, and lo and behold, it tasted great. So you can put in 1 or 2 cloves of garlic. Now you can throw them in whole, pick them out, flavor the sauce, or you can put them in small, however you like. Now right now, for some reason this time of year, all my garlic has these little green things on them, so you cut those out. And then I'm just going to throw these in. I'm just breaking them in half. I'm going to use 2 pretty good sized cloves of garlic. Everything in Italian cooking really truly is way more subtle than most Americans think. It's not, you know, so, I mean, I love garlic and I can eat, you know, I can roast a whole head of garlic and sit there and just squeeze it all out and put it on, I love it. But that doesn't mean that I need everything I make to be loaded with lots of garlic. The thing is, a lot of their food has garlic in it in southern Italy, but they don't have a lot of garlic every sitting. Everything is so much more subtle, and you appreciate all the little flavors that meld together to make it just be so beautiful. This is so pretty. I just have to show you. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Okay. Nope, I didn't burn the towel. Okay. All right, so now we're going to put in some tomatoes. Tomato sauce, you can use crushed tomatoes, whole fresh tomatoes, your own jarred tomatoes. They can be a puree, it can be chunky. You can use fresh tomatoes. If you have fresh tomatoes, it's, you know, end of the summer, you got all these beautiful tomatoes, just chop up a bunch of them and throw them in. So I'm going to throw in, well, let's see. I'm not going to put the whole thing in yet. Let's see how much I need. Yeah, I'll throw the whole thing in. There we go. This was kind of chopped up tomatoes. And now, oh yeah, it's all going down in the sides. Now, the really important, now I am going to throw in some of these. And the really important thing, I stole some of Pasquale's wine. So they're going to put a glass in here for the dinner. Ooh, yeah. Maybe a little more. That's not really a wine glass. And then, you know, what the heck? A little for me. Let me tell you a little trick about wine. If you take your wine, especially if you have everybody's got a house wine that they have on the daily. You know, it might be a gallon, it might be a 2-liter bottle, it might be just a regular, less expensive bottle. Put it in a decanter. I'm telling you, it always tastes better. We leave that on the dining room table, and it just always tastes good. Salud. I don't know. I don't know if it's because it aerates or just because it looks pretty. You know, we eat first and drink first with our eyes. Things that are pretty, attractive looking just always taste better. Oh my God. Now, I'm going to go ahead and take a couple leaves of sage. Actually, I think I'm just going to take one little sprig here. I've already washed these. I'm going to put a sprig of sage in, and I'm going to put a little sprig of thyme because I've got it fresh and I might as well use it up. We're going to put in some fresh thyme. Whoops, throwing it around. Just going to throw a little bunch in. You can tie it up if you want, but really it stays together. I'm just going to put it in here, lay it in here to let the flavors just get into that sauce. And aren't these the cutest little jars I have? I use them for my herbs to keep them watered. I got them in Italy. They're all handmade by my friend Giancarlo, which is my son's name. Okay, I'm now going to cover this up. Let's put in a little black pepper and a little salt before not too much, because again, I tend to like to salt things at the end, but you know, put a little bit in because it does get in with the flavors and pulls the flavors out. I'll just put 2 pinches of salt in, a nice pinch of the black pepper. Stir that in a little bit. The bubbles are just going. This is so beautiful. This is probably one of the more popular ways they make chicken in Italy. They don't really necessarily call it all the time by its full name. They're just making chicken in the sauce or whatever. But this is probably one of the most popular ways to cook chicken. They don't do fried chicken the way we do. They will do some chicken fillets and but that's more fancy in their eyes. You know, this is a wonderful, heartwarming, body-warming, nice winter, but yet any time of year. This sauce is so good to put on your pasta. And oftentimes, you know, how we are so used to Italian style making pasta with sauce that has meat in it. We'll put in pork or beef or ribs or whatever. And that is a very typical way to make your sauce. But they also often make a sauce with the chicken in it. And it really does flavor the chicken. The sauce flavors the chicken, and the chicken really flavors the sauce nicely. It is very common down in southern Italy, down where my town where I'm from, and you'll see, I kid you not, you'll see whole pieces of chicken in there. You'll see feet, you'll see chicken heads. It's kind of crazy, but you know, you will see that in there to flavor the sauce. They don't eat those parts, but or at least I don't think they do. But it's really gives it such a wonderful flavor. They really cut the chicken up, put all the pieces in, and let it go. So again, this can have all the parts of chicken. Today I used thighs and legs because it's what I had. Cook with what you've got. Don't be so always married to the exact recipe. Oh no, the chicken cacciatore recipe I just saw online said I needed a whole cut of chicken, breast, thighs, you know, legs and wings. No, you don't. You use what you've got. You can make it with all wings, all thigh, but I do recommend having some dark meat in there. I think that gives it the best flavor. You know, so anyway, I do love this. It's so, oh yeah, my rice is ready. We're gonna have some nice rice. I'm gonna put some of this over the top with the sauce, and then we're gonna have some of the chicken. Oh, it's gonna be so good. Oh. You know, I moved down to Delaware from New Jersey. They have, like, I don't know how much snow. We had some beautiful, nice covering of snow day before yesterday, and then yesterday it drizzled and it all went away. We had nothing to shovel. It was so nice. Now today it's flurrying and it's just pretty. I like it that way. Then I can still go somewhere if I want to. Oh, you know, there's nothing like good bicchiere di vino, nice glass of wine. So now you're gonna let this sit on here at a medium heat. Let it go for about, 45 minutes to an hour, depending on how big your pot is, how much chicken you're cooking. But, a good hour. If it starts to dry up too much, you can always add just a little bit of water or a little bit of broth if you want to. But, if you have some broth already handy, don't go, opening up some container of broth. You don't need that much. But a little extra water in there would be fine if it starts to cook too much and get too dry. But right now, this is bubbling, is smelling heavenly. Oh yeah. Okay, so that's it for today. I'm working, like I said, I haven't been doing much chitty chat lately. I'm working on some projects that you're gonna end up hearing me chat so much that you're not gonna know what to do with me. But right now, I'm gonna get back to work on that stuff. I'm gonna let this cook, because this is what Pasquale and I are having for lunch today, because of course we've been having Mediterranean style life now. We're eating our big meal at midday, usually around 1:30, which is perfect because this is gonna cook for about an hour and it's gonna be just right for us. So he's excited because he's popped his head out a couple times already of his office over there going, it smells so good. And it really, really does. So if anyone has any requests, because this was a request, if anybody has a request for a recipe that you want to learn, you want to perfect, you just want to see how I do it, please, send me a message, put it under the chat, do whatever you want, but let me know what you want to learn how to make. All right, I'm going to finish drinking my wine, and I'm going to go chill out a little bit before I have more work to do, and then we're going to have our wonderful, yummy lunch that I can smell right through the lid here. So good. So, salud. Let's get back to the table. Ciao.